Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Pulse, brought to you by the America's Pulse Network. Sorry, we got the wrong episode title there. The episode title is actually we're talking about immigration influence and the future of American sovereignty. I am your moderator tonight, Damon Galdo, host of the Jersey Shore Podcast, and we have our other podcasters that are going to be on here, our other hosts, and we have our usual guest, and then we have a special guest again. So, getting into this, I'm going to go into the monologue, and then we'll go into a little bit of breaking news that goes. It's part of the monologue, I would say. So I just want to say, tonight we want to talk about something that's actually uncomfortable. It will be uncomfortable, people. Something we're told not to notice. Something that history tells us it tells us we ignore at our own peril. And nations do not usually fall because they are invaded from the outside. They fall when they are taken from within. Think about it. Rome did not collapse because an enemy army was stronger. Rome collapsed because its culture eroded. Its borders meant nothing. Its leaders lost loyalty to their own people, and citizens. And they were told that defending their own civilization was immoral. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you guys right now. This is how great nations end. And if you think the United States is somehow immune, history says otherwise. In January of 1963, the United States Congress entered into the official record a warning about communist infiltration. The conclusion was simple. America could not be defeated by force. Surrounded by oceans, protected by geography, the only way to destroy it was from the inside. Divide the people, exploit openness, use our own laws against us. Again, does that sound familiar? Now, fast forward to today and ask yourself, honestly, how do you feel about it? Again, does this sound familiar? I got to keep saying it over and over again because it's uncanny how many things are going on. And we'll touch base on that in the first segment. But immigration was once one of America's greatest strengths. When it was built on assimilation, shared values, and loyalty to this country. What we're dealing with now is something very different. Immigration is being used strategically by foreign governments and ideological movements as a weapon. This is not speculation. It is documented. Foreign governments openly talk about flooding the United States with people in order to shift elections, drain resources, and exert influence. Mexico has dozens of consulates inside of our borders, not just issuing paperwork, but engaging in political activity, and also China exploiting birthright citizenship and paying they're paying American women as surrogates to produce American-born citizens who are then raised in China under their authoritarian system. And that's basically what it is, and they're going to use them. So ask yourself, why do they do this? Now, China is facing it's an historic population collapse. If you look at what they were before and what they are now, birth rates are at their lowest levels in recorded history. I mean, if this were about family building, then they would be having children at home. Instead, they're manufacturing American citizenship abroad here. And it's not a coincidence. I tell you, it's not. It's a long game. That's their ideology. When we were told never to discuss it, but ideology matters, assimilation is really what matters, because when you have people come here and don't assimilate, then that's how the nations fall. They bring their culture with them. So if you look at like Minnesota, tens of millions of taxpayer dollars stolen through massive fraud schemes centered in immigrant communities that never assimilated. No one says every person was involved, but that's not the point. The point is when people do not share civic norms, accountability disappears. There are some Islamist leaders openly justified defrauding Western welfare systems, calling it righteous, a righteous transfer of wealth, and that's recorded as well. The worldview is, it's incompatible with a free society. The culture doesn't vanish when people cross the border; it travels with them, and that's our major problem. And I just want to let everybody know that's the whole point of this episode tonight, to talk about this. And then we're told to ignore it when elected officials openly declare divided allegiance. When politicians say they are Somali first or something else first and America second. We're told not to notice. Then that's a problem. We have to look at that. When officials openly say they want to fundamentally transform American systems, dismantle borders, reject capitalism, and reshape this country, we're told that questioning it is hateful. I mean, that's how silence is enforced. If this is not about race, it's not about faith, it's not about hating immigrants, it's about sovereignty. A nation that refuses to define itself, is defined by others. A nation that cannot defend its culture will lose it. A nation that allows laws to be weaponized against its own people will not remain free. The United States is not being conquered with tanks and troops. It's being reshaped through policy loopholes, guilt, intimidation, fear of speaking the truth. I mean, if you look at it, history is clear. By the time people finally admit what is happening, the transformation is already well underway. The fall of nations does not begin with soldiers in the streets. It begins with people when people are convinced they are not allowed to defend their own civilization. And that is exactly where we are right now. So with that, I want to go into breaking news. And Trump was in Davos, and we're going to play this quick clip. So let's roll that.
Decades it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever-increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it.
So there's Trump with that. So with that, we're going to go in the first segment. Before that, we're going to introduce our host, co-hosts that are on. I don't know if they're on yet, Alexandra or Seth. If they are, if you could bring them on. If not, I will go right into our always awesome guest, Elana Barbera from the Base Mother.
Hey, what's up, Damon?
What's up? Hey, a rough day today. I turned over my building today, so it was like a panic, all day long. So
Yeah.
trying to get through the monologue, it was a little rough, but it was a lot of good stuff, though. A lot of good things that we have to get out there. And then we have Jack Brangan, as always, great guest that comes on. Hello, Jack.
Hey, Damon, how you doing?
Good. And then we will have our co-host, Alexandra Levine from Alexandra Levine Live, coming on soon. And Seth, he is stuck at work. He's a little bit late. Seth from the Conservative Quarter. Seth Eisenberg, will be on soon. So, all right, guys. Well, listen. I mean, this first segment, I want to talk about January 10th, 1963. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, Jack. I think you are. Elena, I'm not sure if you are. I don't know if we ever had that conversation. If you want to bring up the first one, Damon, well, the other Damon, our producer. So it was a communist goal that congressional record that they submitted on January 10, 1963. So he's rolling through them all right now, real quick. But let's look at number 15 first. Let's put that one up there. Well, yeah. So this is capture one or both of the political parties in the United States. Now, Jack, I'll start with you on this one. I don't know. I don't think they have both, but I'm pretty sure they at least have one.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, they have their own party, which I think they're losing a grip on. I do see this business with immigration a little bit different than, let's say, the Roman Empire, where they may have been overrun by the hordes of barbarians and so on and so forth. And that end result may be the same, it destroyed the empire. But in our case here, this was deliberate. This was not a natural overrunning of the United States. This was an administration that purposely opened up our borders, presumably to harm and wound the country. And yes, I mean, the end result, it's the same as what happened to the Roman Empire if it was left unchecked. If Kamala Harris had won, that we would have been a long way down the road to the end of the country. And but this is a little bit different. This did not happen naturally. This was artificial, almost a suicidal decision to bring all these people in, because we know that it's going to have a negative impact. And it has, and it's bungled up all of our systems. It's overrun our hospitals, our schools. Society has had a negative impact with crime. Our voting system now is all mucked up because there's illegals on there. And yeah, there's been a lot of damage, but thank God Donald Trump, won and put an end to it. I think we were going down the road to Roman Empire, but this was not a natural thing that happened. This was deliberate, loading the gun.
Was. Yeah, it definitely was. Not saying it's natural, but that's the whole point of this this communist thing that they put out in 1963, and the whole point of it is to see they foresaw this. And we're going to go through. We have a bunch of them to go through real quick, so we're going to pop up one and just let's throw number 16 up there. And Elena, I'll let you take this one. So 16 says, use technical decisions there it goes. Decisions of the courts to weaken basic American institutions by claiming their activities or violate civil rights. Now, you've seen a lot of that, right?
That's in one word, lawfare.
What was that?
I said in one word, that's just the lawfare.
Yeah,
We've seen.
yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of ties very closely into the first point that you brought up, was the capture of both of the parties. I mean, when we think of a communist capture, I think part of it is just an ideological capture, which we definitely see in the left, and it was fringe on the left, and it gets a lot of attention. I don't know how much it's actually grown, but progressivism and communism, I think, are one and the same, and they just they call it something different. But there's other ways to capture both parties. One of them is to literally wrangle them in legal mires, like this point is. They've been captured with briberies and fraud. So the right is as captured in this, because I have no doubt that we're going to find people on the right who are also benefiting from these fraudulent programs that are being exploited. When they are captured in the Epstein temptation. That is the we've never seen what this client list that has been compiled through years of investigation, because everybody's on it on both sides. So they capture them in those sorts of ways, not just ideologically. And when you do that, when you have people tied to money and fear, you can drive the ship. And that's why we are as far down the road on the destruction, it's similar to the destruction of the Roman Empire as we are. And we are still on that road. We're just going a little slower right now, thanks to Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. And let's put up numbers. There's about 45 of them or so. It's like I said, it's uncanny how they came up with this in '63, and now it's all happening now. So everyone, look at this. Would you tell me, from 1963 to what's happening right now? Tell me if you see anything. All the listeners out there, you can put your comments out there and says, get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda, soften the curriculum, get control of the teachers' associations, put the party line in textbooks.
This is infuriating. I just want to say, because we were warned. This is before you and I were born, right?
Yes.
There was a warning, this clear, and we still let it happen.
This is the road.
Yeah, I know. So anybody out there that you can go into, if you're watching right now, any listeners, you can go in the chat box and comment on it as well, because this is some crazy stuff. And I first found out about this about 2 years ago. Ben Carson was in an interview, and they asked him a question. He said, well, I'll just put it towards January 10th, 1963. So in my mind, I'm thinking, was that Kennedy assassination? I'm like, no, that wasn't the date. Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not right. And I started Googling. I'm looking for it. It's not easy to find. Well, it wasn't then, but now it's much more easier to find, especially hopefully it'll be a lot easier now that we're putting it up there. But I only picked a few out of here because, like I said, there's a bunch.
Yeah, I think the schools probably not until sometime in the 80s that things really start to turn, 80s and 90s, where the unions, all of this ideological takeover started during that time. Because prior to that, everything was still as planned. In the 60s and 70s, there was not a lot of propaganda. It was all pretty much America first. That far back, but
no. I'll tell you that where that started, the breakdown with the schools in the 70s was when they started busing, and that was a trick to separate children from their parents and separate parents from the schools. Because when you got kids and when the kids getting on a bus and going way across town, the mom can't be involved in the school. So that was step one, was getting parents out of the schools. So it was, you know what I mean? I see that as as their setup.
Well, let's go into some more, and Elena, I'll let you take this one as well. Let's go into 19. Use student riots to foment public protest against programs or organizations which are under communist attack. Now, this is communism. That it's not all that. It's the same thing. Socialism, Marxism. I mean, I wrote them all together. But if you look at what's going on in this country, that has been going on for years, that's another one. And this was all predated.
But this is something I'd actually like to pass over to Jack, because Jack has a little bit, 5 or 6 more years on the planet than we do. So he saw things.
Being kind.
Being kind. I was going to say the same thing.
He saw things, in around this time that we didn't get to see. He saw these things in action way back then, and yes, of course, we're seeing them now. And when I was in college in the 90s, I don't know if they were protesting. I was at a party. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, to be perfectly honest. Not terribly proud of that, but it is the truth. I didn't see a lot of protesting going on in the 90s. There must have been some kind of lull. But Jack, what do you say about that?
Well, the way I see it is, back in the 60s, late 60s, there were riots, on campus and whatnot. And they were very specific. It was civil rights and the Vietnam War. These were 2 specific targets. And culturally, there was a rejection of what I'll call the World War II standards. So that was the beginning of rejecting the World War II, free love. We want to do, we're going off on our own. During the 60s, there was a complete break because prior to that, it was very much, it was the World War II generation. It was my parents, and things were very conservative. But Vietnam was this, to a certain extent, it was, we're not going to war just like World War II. We're not going to say, okay, we're going. We're going to dig into this war and find out why are we there, questioning the war, where prior to that, I don't think there was any questioning. And, then the same thing with civil rights. Why is it that the two races are separate? Prior to the 60s, nobody questioned it. That was just the way it was. And so I think there were very specific triggers, that started changing things. But it's still different now. I mean, I think what's going on in the schools are more insidious. No one wanted to see America destroyed. Nobody had that feeling. Yes, there were riots against the war, civil rights, but nobody wanted to take the country down. And that's the sense I get now, that this is now a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely, Jack. It is a whole different ballgame. But back then, I mean, listen, I wasn't alive back then, but yeah, everyone had their different opinion. They had their protests and maybe riots in between. But you're right about that. No one wanted to see America destroyed. Now the riots and protests now, everyone's anti-American. It's anti-this, and they want to see America destroyed. That's why I think we're in such big trouble with this. And I think we're on top of it. I think we're moving in the right direction to try to squash it. But it's still there. It's a big problem. Yeah. That's why we have to. I'm tired of being reactive to things. We have to be proactive. Now we're reacting to everything the Biden administration, the Obama administration did, changing different laws, and then having a wide open border. Now we have to get all these people out, and all the people that are funding these riots and protests. They're already there. So now we have to react to what they already did. So I'm going to go with the next one. I've combined. It's like 20 and 21 together because there's quite a few of them I just wanted to go through. So here you go. It's infiltrate the press, gain control of book review assignments, editorial writing, policy making decisions, gain control of key positions in radio, TV, and motion pictures.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So this is the pen is mightier than the sword. And we've got the internet now, and the networks are doing a lot of damage. They're spreading a lot of hate and misinformation, and they're telling half truths, and the half truths are still full lies. And to a certain extent, I wish whoever's the Department of Communication take a look at the licensing again, to make sure CBS and ABC and NBC are not violating their obligation to tell the public the truth. I think they're right up on the edge there of lying.
So so I know we got a couple of Seth. Welcome on. Just got back from work. So not wearing your hat, I see. So I do have the golden hammer here, though, buddy. It's right here. Where's your sword? But no, we're talking about January 10th, 1963. And so we're going to bring up the next item. And Lena, I think this next one will be in your warehouse. Break down cultural standards of morality and promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. Now, I said in your wheelhouse, I meant because I didn't mean it in that way, because it's children. And the next one, I believe, is more geared towards children as well. So this is something that they're pushing in schools, and that's a way to break down the culture.
Yeah, I mean, they pushed it to the adults long enough that we became desensitized, and then now it started being pushed to instituted slowly in the 60s and the 70s with sex ed, and now it is full-blown sexually explicit pornographic materials that you can find in schools. I do not exaggerate when I say that. And it's completely destructive because not only does it break down morality and does it, eliminate the possibility to have, really, a decent, self-respecting society, it also blurs the line for children what is appropriate when it comes to sexual contact with adults, and it ends up the pedophilia. So this is just the kind of destructive thing that was going on. This is why Sodom was destroyed by God and nobody was spared. I say it all the time. We deserve the full wrath of God in this country for allowing this stuff to happen. The good news is that they've gone so far, like with the media, like you were talking about, Jack, and, in movies, and, everything has to have a non-binary they, them, and, gay couple in every single scene, that people are just like, enough. I have gay friends who are like, enough already. Now we're getting hate that we were fully accepted in this society. We were happy. Now we're getting hate on because it all just was it's been too much. Look at the new Star Trek. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everyone's a non-binary lesbian. It's so, they're trying to make sure that this is the final frontier for the franchise, apparently. I am grateful that they've gone so far because it's starting to snap back in their faces, all of these things.
They didn't screw up. I didn't hear about this one. They screwed up the new Star. There's a new Star Trek coming out. I've been busy.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, I guess non-binary lesbians aren't in your algorithm. They'll be there soon.
How can you be non-binary and be a lesbian?
Yeah, that's right.
That's a deep question, man.
That's an oxymoron. So.
You're welcome.
But Seth, as we're going through this, I'll go to you on the next one because we're going through the communist goals.
Okay.
And it was brought up, by Congress January 10th, 1963. And it is very uncanny how all this stuff is happening now. So now we're on number 25 of it. And we have a few more left. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's going to take a lot of time. And we're already probably over time in this segment. But, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and then
promiscuity.
Let's say promiscuity as normal and natural and healthy. That's one of their goals. I can't believe that they came out with this in 1963, and this is how they ruined the United States from within. And it's been happening slowly to where it is. We're there now.
Just real quick before he gets to it, they started this about 20 years before that I know of. It may even go further back, but this is when it hit the communist.
Yeah, it's when Congress brought it to light.
Yeah.
But when years before that, I mean, I wasn't even born yet, and it's happening.
Okay. Number one, let's get down to brass tacks. Human beings are the only species on the planet that try to promote like marriage, like one partner for their entire lives. No other species on the planet does it. So looking at it that way, it's not natural. That's just not the natural order of things. Am I saying that's right? No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what happens in nature. No other species mates one thing forever. They may stay together, but they don't mate with one thing.
But we're set apart by God.
That's what I'm saying. I don't say it's right. I'm just saying it's natural. So that's the argument they're going to use. Hey, look, nothing else in nature does.
That's their argument. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what their argument would be. And while it's a fact, and you can't argue with facts, it still doesn't make it right. People murder people. That's a fact. Doesn't make it right, but it's a fact. As far as homosexuality goes, I don't care where you park your gun at night. I don't care. I really don't. I don't care who you wake up next to. I don't care. And that's how it should be approached. That is your business. That is your personal, private life, and it should remain that way. But if you decide to make it public, I'm going to ridicule you. I don't care if you're heterosexual. If you want to tell me your private life, I will make fun of you. I will make sure everybody I know makes fun of you. I will belittle you. And that's how we need to approach this. Keep your private life private. If you make it public, I will make you the punchline of every joke I can. Degeneracy is degeneracy. That's never acceptable. And anybody who tries it, like, what is it, the Mambla? Is it Mambla or Manbla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they are. Those people should be hunted down and beaten like baby harp seals. There is nothing worse or lower than any human being that would do anything to a child. That is, in my opinion, that's the unforgivable sin. There's no coming back from that. So anybody promotes that, like I said, harp seal. Leave them where they fall. I don't. Again, this all could go back to loss of faith with God, but I want to make it a little bit more easier for some people to digest. This goes back to education. This goes back to schools. This goes back to parents giving up their responsibilities as parents and allowing the schools to take over and take the role of parent. When I was in school, this shit wouldn't have flown. My father would have been in there in a heartbeat. My mother would have been in there in a heartbeat going, no, this is not going to happen. Now, parents are afraid to do that. The schools have set up to where if you do that, well, we could call CPS now, or we're going to call the police and have you removed from the school because you can't do that. You can't take your child out of school now unless the school says it's okay. If I show up to take my son out for the day, they won't let me. This has to be planned. Parents need to get off their ass, stop thinking the school is there to help them, that teachers care about their kids as much as they do, and start being parents again. And then we don't have to worry about homosexuality and degeneracy and promiscuity being pushed as normal, natural, and healthy, because parents will be that door that's in front of their kids. They'll be that wall.
Right.
Seth, you came in a little after I said that back in the 70s when they started busing kids, they trained parents to not be involved in their kids' education because your kid's across town now and you can't get there. So they trained us for decades so that they could sexualize our children.
And I want to end on this part on what's this, number 26?
Yeah.
On number 26, parents, I don't care if there's only 10 of you listening and only 100 of you listen after this is done. Homeschool your kids. Get them out of public school immediately, or you are part of the problem.
Whatever it takes.
Seth, as much as I would love to do that, I'm not in a position to do that. Some people are. But
I know it's hard. I mean, where I live, I know there's 4 or 5 homeschool schools that are run by parents.
That would be great. I don't have that around me. Other people don't have it. But
I understand. And I'm not
people should start doing that.
Look into it.
You might have it around you and you don't even know. There are
there's more support for that. There's getting to be more support for that
yes.
than ever before. And Damon, there might be more support for that in your neighborhood than you know about.
And anybody who gets told that homeschooling is worse than public school, look at the studies Harvard School has done on homeschooling students compared to public school students. By far, homeschool students fare much better down the road than public school students
on
do.
Standardized testing, on college acceptance, on scholarship. They fare
social adjustment,
everything.
criminal records, teen pregnancy, everything is much better for homeschool students. If you don't believe me, look at all the studies out there. I'm not lying.
All right, well, then I'm starting the America's Pulse homeschooling network in West.
Do it.
I'm not even kidding.
I'll help you. Tell me what you want me to do.
So we have one more of these to go through. And Seth, as always, you're when you come on and you say, I don't care where you park your gun at night. I don't know where you're smoking stuff.
You're welcome.
It's support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics, etc. So again, this is I learned about this 2 years ago, Seth. I don't know you weren't on when Ben Carson talked about it, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" And this is only part of there's many of them, and this was predicted. This would be the fall of the United States. How you divide them from within, and because we're surrounded by vast oceans, we're a very powerful country, so you have to do it from within. So, Jack, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, this one is centralized control, right? Now, if you look at Department of Education, it was centralized in Washington, D.C., all during the Biden administration, and it pumped out DEI and, all the gender identity stuff. I think that applies here to this one rule. And fortunately, Trump moved it all out to the states, which is not perfect, but it's a little less centralized. Now if you're in a red state, you have a good chance of having a pretty good school system. If you're in a blue state, you still have a problem, right? There's a lot of residue from the Biden administration in the blue states. But centralized control that's what communism is all about, and socialism. So, this is a critical step.
I think it's district by district. I don't think it's state by state. Texas, Florida have some, Montana. We have some of the most woke, sexually explicit, communistic teachers that are seen just the same as bad as in Seattle. It is a district by district issue. Look at Mississippi coming out of left field and being one of the top states in the country for education now, because on a statewide, they changed back to phonics, which was just the big thing that they somehow convinced schools to get rid of phonics. But as far as the communistic stuff and the sexual stuff, a lot of that, it comes down from the American Library Association and the teachers unions, which are in all 50 states.
Yeah.
Parenthood has sexual education materials in all 50 states. And a lot of that isn't just sexual, it's communistic, killing your children, the just pushing abortion. STDs aren't so bad, free love, everybody just jump on whatever looks good at any moment. So it's not safe if you're in a red state. And I don't want to give any parent a false security that if they're sending their kid to a public school in Texas, that it's all hunky dory, because it's not.
Right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're way over in this segment, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll go into the next one after this. So,
that was fun.
It was. It was, actually.
Yeah.
I think we're
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elana, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
all right, everybody. Welcome back to the next segment of the Pulse. This is a geopolitical tool for immigration, and that's what's going on right now. And everyone heard my monologue. If you didn't hear it, you can go back and listen to it. Seth, I know you didn't. You were late to the game, but basically, it's being used as a tool by other countries, by whether it be China or whether it be Islamic nations, whatever it may be. So they're using it to get rid of our culture and defeat us from within. That's what this whole podcast that I geared it towards is that the United States is a powerful country surrounded by vast oceans, and it's very hard to defeat from the outside. So it has to be from the inside. And there's a lot of things that are going on right now, especially with the immigration, and that people that are coming over our border, that they don't assimilate, or they come bring their own thing with them. They get on welfare. I wrote a whole big thing about that, and I'm going to talk about that on Friday as well. It's a big thing that's going to hit people hard. They're going to be very upset when they hear all the numbers that I put together. But it's destroying the United States from within by this immigration, mass immigration, not just us. I'm talking about Europe. You look at everywhere, bringing all these people in. It's destroying our culture and our way of life. And what do you think about that, Seth? How do we stop it? How do we get people's attention and say, listen, look at what's going on. This is what's ruining your life and your family's life.
Let me read something, and then I'll answer that question. In the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates himself to us, he shall be treated with exact equality as anyone else. For it is an outrage to discriminate against any such man because of creed or birthplace or origin. But this is predicated upon the person becoming an American in every facet and nothing but an American. There can be no divided allegiance here. Any man who says he's an American but something else also isn't an American at all. We have room but for one flag, the American flag. We have room but for one language here, that is the English language. We have room but for one and one soil loyalty and one loyalty at all, and that is to the American people. Theodore Roosevelt. That's it. That should be the rules for immigration. You're not an Irish American. You're not an African American. You're not a Russian American. You are an American. And if you cannot say that, get the hell out. End of discussion. It's that simple. No other country would tolerate this. No other country would tolerate this flying another country's flag in your country and saying that Mexico is a better country than America. Get out. It's that simple. If you like the third world nation shithole you left, go back to it. We don't want you here. And if that makes me a bigot, a racist, or whatever they want to call me, I'll wear it on my forearm like a badge. It is time for you to go. The Americans need to stand up and take this country back. And like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. It's that simple. This is an invasion now. It's simple, plain and simple. We are being invaded, and our politicians are sitting around with their thumbs up their ass, wanting to make the evening news. We, the people, need to do something. Not talking violence, but I'm talking stand up, be assertive, and be heard. Stop being pushed around by people who don't belong here.
All right.
Comment.
There. So, Jack, I would go to you too. I would use New Jersey as an example for this. What's happening in New Jersey with it?
Well, New Jersey is a mess. There's close to 1 million illegal immigrants that poured into Jersey over the past 4 years. And, the estimates are over $7 billion in hard cash and services that it's costing the state. So, yeah, it's degraded. It has had an impact, on life here in New Jersey. It's going to make it almost impossible to bring taxes down because we have this burden. It's in the schools, the medical. If you try to get an appointment with doctors now, it takes a lot longer. Insurance is getting more expensive, and to make things worse, because we are a blue state and we're run by Democrats, we do have sanctuary state laws now that's just going to, make things even more miserable. Where we have a new governor now that probably is going to start fighting ICE very, very soon.
Oh.
So it's going to be a problem. New Jersey is going to be right there with Minnesota and California. We'll be in the news soon.
Well, they've gotten, I think in the past year, they've gotten 10,000 illegal immigrants out of Minnesota. If I'm remembering the numbers correctly, just Minnesota, and 3,000 since all this, in the past, I think this month or something like that. So let New Jersey, you should be glad if New Jersey turns into the next Minnesota and they come in there and start saving you money.
It's going to be very divisive.
But the thing is, it won't save.
Right? It's not as divisive as the news makes it. There's not that many people who really, they focus on these loons and give them the only platform. More and more videos are coming out from Minnesota, regular people being like, I just bought ICE lunch today, literally things like that. Or hey, ICE was here and nobody bothered them because we want them here. So don't let the divisiveness in New Jersey, let it rip, let it happen. We got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, no, I hear that's going to have to happen. But what people, I'll just stick with New Jersey. What they're going to have to deal with, we're going to get smoked by this new governor. I mean, our old governor was horrible. I mean, energy costs are way up, and our property taxes are going up like $2,000 a year per house. I'm going to reassess and everything. And guess what? Gas prices went down when they're drunk, but their thoughts, oh, they went down, we're going to raise the gas tax. We're going to do that. We're going to raise the sales tax.
The state tax.
Yeah, everything.
So when the price of gas went down, they just kept the price per gallon the same, but kept more of it in taxes, basically?
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. So they raised the gas tax, and so, I mean, it is lower than what it was, but they still raised the gas tax. Like, well, we're finally getting a break in New Jersey, lower gas prices. Oh, no, we're going to raise the gas tax now because it's lower. So, and we're already one of the highest states in property taxes. I mean, they screwed us with energy for their fake windmill project that they spent billions of dollars on. We pay $7.3 billion for illegal immigrants to be here. It's like, wait a minute, I could barely pay my mortgage. It's like,
the other thing,
why am I paying for everybody else?
The other thing, it's mucked up our voting registration system.
Oh yeah, that's another big one.
Now, in New Jersey, now there's 1 million, foreigners in the state. They're anytime they intersect or touch with the state of New Jersey, they are offered to register to vote. There is no hard check whether they are U.S. citizen or not in that process. There's no hard check to check if they're from Guatemala or whatever. They can check a box, but there's no check beyond that. So now, I think the numbers in this last election now look fishy to me, because if you look, a governor's election over election over election, there's about 100,000 to 200,000 more voters each time, or maybe it goes down 100,000. Mikey Sherrill had a spike of 715,000 new voters that came out of nowhere. Of them, she got over 500,000 of them. And they came from our largest inner cities. That would be Newark, New Jersey, New Jersey City. And they're the two cities that have the highest concentration of illegal aliens.
Makes sense.
So this is something, I don't know, I'm gonna keep banging on here. I think there was voter fraud during this whole thing.
How can that be investigated? Like, what is the process?
We do have a voter integrity group, and they have documented instances of illegals voting. Now, they don't have 100,000. What I am saying is that you must take the New Jersey voter registration database and unload it. In other words, take a complete image of it, and you run it against the Social Security database and this other database called the Systemic Alien Verification Database. This is two government databases, and you run it up and you see how many not founds you get. In other words, you go against Social Security database, Jose is not going to be found out there. Or if you go on the Alien Verification database, he's going to be found there. So there's a way to do this, but New Jersey refuses to take that step. It's not complicated. You give it to a third party, the database, let them do the query. This SAVE database, they are set up. I think there's about 15 states that use it already for, illegal aliens. So this is not a big deal anymore. It really must be done. The 715,000, it should be 200,000 more, right? So, not 715,000. So,
all right, guys, we've been going through a lot of stuff on these two segments. There's still two left, but so we'll go through them really quick. But it all, it's like a train. It all connects. So I want to play this one clip, and you'll see what this guy saying, Schweitzer, of the book that he wrote, and how this is intentional, and that's why we're in the position that we're in. So let's roll this clip in this segment.
The foreign influences in our country especially by enemies and adversaries that are trying to overthrow the nation from within. So as a general matter, what are you talking about there?
Well, Mark, we've had a very important and needed conversation about immigration in the United States. And that focus has been primarily on the effect on the economy, things like crime on our streets, how it influences our culture. Those are all super important, and the Trump administration deserves enormous credit for sealing the border. What this book is about is the weaponization of immigration. That is how foreign adversaries and neighbors like Mexico or countries like China or like the Muslim Brotherhood are using mass migration as a political weapon against us. So when somebody comes from Somalia or somebody comes from Mexico or somebody comes from China, they are bringing with them not only themselves, their
So that's that clip right there. I just wanted to play that real fast, and then we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about that because it's going to go into Birthright citizenship afterwards. So
I need a beer. I'll be right back.
got it.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Looks like we're missing two people. I guess the two old guys had to go pee or something like that. So they're not in there. So, but Lance, I'll go to you with this. I did with the birthright citizenship and national security. Birthright citizenship was never designed for like an industrial scale abuse, but China is exploiting American law by this. If you look it up, they're actually paying the billionaires in China are paying American women to be surrogates. Yes. So basically, the meaning behind that is they're not even having children there. They have their laws over there. What is it, like 2-child households or however it works. You have one, once you have one son, then you're done or something like that. But their birth rate has declined tremendously. So now they're paying American women, the billionaires, they're having like 100 babies, throughout, one person, and they're taking them back to China and they're being schooled there. And then by the time they reach the age of 18, they can come here and they can vote, and then they can get into power positions and they can run for office after that. So exactly. This is a coup.
Yes, yeah. yes. This is nothing to do with their birthright. I mean, and they want to have children. This is absolutely a political play. And aside from the obvious abuse of our immigration law, this is psychotic, evil behavior. It is farming of human beings in order to gain political and economic power. It is so disturbing to me on a cellular level. It's demonic. And I really can't quite figure out how depraved you have to be to use human beings like this, especially your very own children. But we're hearing about this now. It's just breaking the surface. And we don't know how long this has been going on, actually. So it could be happening for 10 or 20 years already.
Yeah,
and
right.
There are now probably already thousands of young adults walking around the streets of New York, the streets of America, with full rights and privileges of U.S. citizens, but being controlled by their Chinese puppeteers. It's very scary.
Yeah, if you read his book, Schwartz's book, it started roughly around 2011. So. Okay. If you look at, in the late, 2020s, then they're going to be of voting age, and they're going to have to. They're American citizens. They're using our laws against us
and our women.
Yeah, and a women, yeah, of course. Well, hey, I'm not going to harp on the women that did it, but I guess they need the money. Who knows? Whatever.
No, it's a business. They're part of a business. Go get a job as a
Right.
waitress. You don't have to be a professional
Well,
whore.
no, yeah, they don't have to be.
Pour out your womb in order to destroy your country.
But
Sorry.
then I'll go to you, Jack. They have billionaires over in China that are having hundreds of kids through all these women, and they have surrogates, like one person, hundreds of kids. And then once they're born here, they bring them to China, and
They're U.S. citizens. Yeah, I mean the whole thing is a mess. You know, it's like bringing over aunts and uncles. This is the chain migration. The whole thing's a mess, and it has been weaponized. It's never used to be this way. Immigration was, I mean, the whole purpose of it was to enhance local businesses, could be farms, but even the H-1B originally, that visa was valid. That said, if you can't find an American technician, then it's okay to go to India and bring one in, right? And so there is the devious part, then there's the financial part that has displaced American workers, and that's another thing I saw firsthand. In fact, it displaced me in 2000. I was working in Philly in IT, and I was outsourced, from Cigna to IBM, and IBM was one of the largest importers of technicians from India in the world. So I had firsthand knowledge of all that going on, and actually, I saw U.S. companies decimated, where you had longtime workers like I was at Cigna that were just laid off, and they would keep 10 people here in the United States and 90 over in India, and the U.S. workers were great technicians, but basically thrown to the side. So. Yeah, there's many facets to this.
No, there definitely is. And regular news, Seth, I just want to thank the people for in the chat there, Devin, Donald. You can see what you're putting up there. Thank you for watching and like and subscribe. But Seth, I just want to go to you. You served, and thank you for your service. And that's probably why you're so angry all the time, because you had to deal with all the bullshit overseas. But no, I mean, this is espionage in a way, by using children, and to grow them, homegrown spies, pretty much, that are take this country down. How do you stop it? I mean, how do you let people know?
Stop it? We shut the borders down for 3 years. We don't let anybody come in. We're done. We need to clean up our country first. So before we allow anybody to come visit, we're going to close the doors for a couple of years. We're going to get our house in order. We're going to get people out of here that don't want to be here, and then we don't want here. We're going to keep people who want to be an American or who are Americans. We'll let them stay. Those who are waving flags of another country in our streets, you're gone. Those who are angry at the president because they did something, he said something mean, and you're celebrating a Venezuelan dictator and want him freed, you're gone. We don't want you here, and I'm not going to be quiet about it anymore. I served this country. My daughter served this country. My brother served this country. My stepbrother served this country. My father served this country. My mother served this country. If you don't like it, get the fuck out, and I'll help you get out. Well, and you're not going to like the way I help you leave. It's not going to be pleasant.
The difference is, I agree with you with that. You don't like it, get out. But they're creating possibly hundreds of thousands of Manchurian candidates that are going to come here.
Yeah.
And
like you were talking about, the women are having children for the Chinese billionaires. Round them up and send them to China. Go live with the man you're getting pregnant with. You're out of here, and you cannot come back. Your kids, they're gone. They can't come back.
We can't do that. We can't take American women who are American citizens. They can fly to China, get impregnated there, and come back.
They stay.
Yeah.
If you get pregnant in China more than one,
that's not a practical or realistic solution.
It's realistic. We can do it. Where there is a will, there is a way. There's nothing.
What is the legal path to shutting the borders to American citizens?
And then what happens to the one person that actually
of another country posing as an American citizen? They are going to another country, purposely getting pregnant so they can have children in this country.
It's not what we're talking about.
To be educated.
We're talking about American women serving as surrogates for Chinese men. You can't kick them out of the country. You can't close
we can.
Well, Seth, if you don't, then where's the line draw? So an actual, there are
where's the line draw?
Like when there's an actual American woman that actually goes to China, falls in love with the Chinese guy, gets pregnant by him, and then she comes home. And then how do you separate?
That's an American having an American baby. That's not an issue.
I'm going to say something.
No, you go back to China because it's like.
I'm going to say something, and I'm probably going to catch a lot of heat for it, but you know what? I'm used to that. Any American woman that goes to China and falls in love with a Chinese guy, really? Have you seen Chinese guys? They all look the same. None of them are good looking. They all go to the same barber. So that doesn't happen naturally. If they're going over there and getting pregnant billionaires, that doesn't just happen. They're being paid.
We're talking
the
about
country and all of a sudden find a billionaire. Oh, I'm in love.
We're talking about surrogates who are not keeping their children. They are rented wombs.
Yes,
American women, rented wombs. So even if we close the borders and no one came in, they could go to China, get the surrogate, get implanted, get pregnant, and wherever they have their baby, because they're American citizens, that baby's going to be an American citizen.
And then we ban travel to China. We can do that legally. We ban travel to Cuba, ban travel to China. You can no longer legally go to China.
You have to suggest, and we have to implement solutions that are realistic.
That is realistic. We've banned travel to Cuba for decades.
There is so much trade between the United States and China to just.
And we still trade some with Cuba. We can ban travel anywhere.
Our trade with China to our trade with Cuba.
Do you think for 1 second, if we ban travel to China, that they go, we're not trading with you anymore? They need us more than we need them.
There's a lot that goes on, though. Well, I mean, the amount of business travel.
They need us more than we need them.
No, well, Jack,
they produce almost all of our medicine. We need them too.
But we can do that here.
But we're not, and we're not set up for it.
We can.
That is an extreme measure for handling this very specific problem.
And if we don't handle it extremely, we're going to find ourselves China West.
I'm glad you're not in charge. I like where you're coming from.
We're going to be China West.
He's the blunt force trauma guy.
We want the same things, but I mean, you have to.
We'll be West China if we're not careful.
Yeah. I think we're on to something about limiting immigration in general, because I think we bring in over 10 million immigrants every year. About 1 million of them are, legal immigrants that are going to take the oath. There's green cards in that group. And then there's another 10 million that are students and that sort of thing. I don't think we don't need all them. We don't even need the green cards. And we have enough people.
And let me say this. I love this country, and I love anybody that wants to come to this country legally. I will bend over backwards to help you. I don't care if you're black, Asian, I don't care. If you're trying to do it legally, I will help you any way I can. That love ends the second you try to do it illegally, or you're over here for subversive reasons. That love turns to hate. Immediate, cold, black-hearted hate. And I will do anything to defend my country and anything to defend my countrymen. I've proven it. I've signed a blank check to this country. My daughter, my brother, we've all signed blank checks. Don't put me to the test.
Well, see, that's the thing. Seth is the sword and he's the hammer. So if you want, so that's the thing. That's what Seth is. He's passionate about the United States. He loves his country. And then we need somebody to do something. That's his mentality. Go at him right away.
We have to.
But there are other things that people have to worry about. There is the Constitution.
We can't be.
I know you're the one that you send into a fight that's going to kick somebody's ass. I see you're 7 foot taller than me. So,
it's at the end of diplomacy, and I think you should have the constant strength and threat there. But you can't have a foreign policy without any diplomacy whatsoever.
I think it was von Clausewitz that said war is diplomacy by other means.
Yes.
It's just diplomacy by other means. And we need to stop playing defense. You can't win a game playing defense. You can't. You're going to lose. You need to go on the offense.
I'm not suggesting we claim defense.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying
the things that you're suggesting are outlandish, and I want to hear solutions that are
banning travel to China is a solution.
I like his outlandish stuff, though. I'll give him that. I do like it. So
we did it with Cuba.
It's funny, and sometimes I feel that way as well, but it's just not feasible. But
it's a little more nuanced.
It's a lot more nuanced.
The time for nuance has come and gone. Where has that gotten us? We're in a shithole right now, and it's going to get worse if we continue to try to play nuance or play these games or try to get along and try to do diplomacy. We are going to lose. It's not a little bit we're going to lose. We're going to lose the country.
There's nothing we were getting from Cuba that we absolutely, needed. We have components.
There's nothing we need from China that we can't do ourselves. We just need to do it.
There's nothing we can't. There's a lot of stuff that we get from China that we can't produce today, that we need to build factories and train workers.
We have the factories now. We just outsource. We just talked about it. We outsource everything. We allow that to happen. How you stop that? You start taxing companies that outsource. You're going to outsource a job. Every job you outsource you're going to add $50,000 to your tax bill at the end of the year. Watch that end that day. People stop outsourcing. They'll start hiring Americans. This is all by design.
Yes, I get that. Not everything is, it's not just office jobs.
It's not happenstance. This is by design. We're sitting back and allowing it to happen because we don't want to be that guy. We don't want to be that country. We don't want to be a bully. You know what? Be a bully. If that
I'll let you guys roll with this for
no, it's ridiculous. We can't just tomorrow start producing everything that China produces. It'll take time. We can't just shut it down. We need components for literally everything we use in our life. Unfortunately, the powers that be set us up so that we're somewhat helpless for at least a while.
We're only helpless because that's what they tell us.
Almost all of our medications. I mean, we can't just start producing them out of thin air. We need to set ourselves up for that, and we're not. And are we doing that? I don't see it happening.
So, all right, guys, let's just shut this one down because I understand. I get it. I mean,
we're getting in trouble now.
Listen, I'm with Seth with some things because I am so upset with what's going on. Sometimes you want to bring the hammer and the sword and and just put down. But you have to. There's rules, regulations, and there's things you got to look forward to. Like, hey, China does manufacture a lot of our medicine. You can't just say, hey, you're cut off, and then hey, you can't get your blood pressure medication right now. You can't get this. So it's a long game, but it's just something that
it's unfortunately a long game. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, we just have to start moving in the right direction. Seth, I'm with you. I would love to bring the hammer down and just end it right now and say, stop the bullshit. I'm out of. I'm really out of time to deal with my with everything.
Just mark my words. If we don't do it soon,
there is way that we have to go by the rule of law, the Constitution, and realize what is reality and what's not. Who we depend on. We did outsource a lot of stuff, and that's the thing. And it's going to take a lot of time to bring it back to where we need to be. And hopefully we're on the right track with that. But with that, we have to take a break. We're going to have to run through this last segment pretty quickly. So let's take a quick break and go over that.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elana, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Everybody, welcome back to the last segment. We're going to go through this one pretty quickly. This is Assimilation Dies, Nations Follow. And the thing is, I'll start and then we'll go around the room real quick, 60 seconds each. With assimilation, people come here that don't assimilate. Back in the day, from what I understand, and Jack would probably know better than us because he's like 150 years old. Sorry, Jack, I threw it out there. But when people came here and immigrated to the United States, they came here for a reason. They were looking for a better life, the American dream. But they had to come here and they had to work. We were building up the country. And that's what it was about. So they came here, they worked, they assimilated, and they had a goal. But now everything is flipped. Open borders, come here, get free stuff. And if you can cross our border illegally, go to California, you get Medicaid, you get welfare, you get this. If you get, and I'm going to touch base on this big time on Friday too, on the Jersey Shore podcast, but it's not the same as it was before. People are coming here because they want free things. They're not innovating. They're not building. They don't want to build this country up. They want to just take it and just like the Somalians. They're like pirates. Come take what I can get and then get out of here. They don't care about this country. Immigrants before cared about this country. So I'll go to you later first. So what do you think?
Absolutely. We should eliminate all of these forms that every single government form comes in 17 different languages. It's probably more than that. Get rid of them all. Come here, learn how to speak English. You got an app, you got a smartphone, probably the one that we gave you. Get on Duolingo and learn how to speak English. That's the first thing. English has to be the language. It's harder for even Americans to assimilate to each other these days. Are you doing sign language?
No, we're trying to figure out. Like I always do it backwards, but he knows how to point. Because I always have it backwards. I point at the wrong person.
I'm doing them gang signs.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I get my time back now. I reclaim my time. So, it's even harder for us as Americans to assimilate with each other because it used to be that everybody watched the same, like 2 or 3 TV shows at 9:00 on Tuesday night. And so when you went to work or school or just the supermarket the next day, it was like, did you see what happened last night on Knots Landing? Like everybody knew we had things in common. There were 9 channels and, a couple radio stations. Now, there's just so many different splintered ways to be entertained and educated that we don't have as many things in common with everybody that we pass on the street every day. And that's a problem. So when foreigners come in, at a minimum, we have to have some baseline things that we all share and have common ground on. And that is a love for this country, a common language, and, a common idea of what America is and what it means to be in the greatest country in the world. So, yeah, I'm all for it. If you can't assimilate, I have a feeling Seth is going to say this. Get out. I'll pack your bags for you. I'll drive you to the airport or the seashore.
And you cannot be a burden on society. You cannot come here.
Yeah, so Jack, I'll go to you next in 60 seconds. And then because we're going to go around the room afterwards and tell everybody where to find you guys and social media.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I did, for work, I did travel to India. And one of the forms we had to fill out for India was we would swear somebody in India would have to, sponsor us, and we would have to say we would not become a burden on their society. I think that's a requirement, for anybody coming into the country. We're not going to support you. I would like to see a lot of these outsourced jobs, and particularly IT jobs. There are tens of thousands of contracts that are overseas. If we brought these back home, we would have jobs for everyone.
Zero.
There would be a way to do it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy and it would take time, but we don't need these people offshore doing this. We know how to do it here. There just has to be a will to do it. And I haven't heard anybody talk about it yet. Everybody seems to be okay with IT still being in India. No need to be there. No need.
No, let's put that on my platform. So, Seth, you're up.
All right. The IT issue, here's how you fix it. You support your local vote tech schools or CTC schools, whatever they call them now in high school. That's the point. Push trade schools more than you push college. Get kids into trade schools. They come out with no debt. They come out with a job. They come out with an ability to do things that will always be in need. We need to stop pushing college as much as more than trade school. Number two, putting jobs overseas, like I just said, you tax the hell out of the companies that do that. You tax them per job they've put overseas. $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 per job overseas. That will end immediately. You hit things in the wallet, people tend to stop doing them. Number two, if you're in this country legally or you're trying to be in this country legally, like I said, I love you. How can I help you? What can I do to help you? If you're trying to do it illegally or for nefarious reasons, get out. We need to make those people uncomfortable. We need to point them out. Like Elana was saying, if you come to this country and you don't try to assimilate, get out. You're not welcome here. We are a melting pot. We are not a tossed salad. We don't sit on top of things. We blend together. We melt. We become one thing, like in the melting pot. And if you can't do that, get out. If you move from Somalia to America, don't bring Somalia with you. Because if you like it, go back. You're in America now. We do things differently. We expect different things from people. You have to produce. You have to be part of our community. And if you cannot be part of this community, get out. You're not welcome. And I'm tired of trying to be nice to people about that. I'm tired of walking on eggshells because I don't want to upset that person. Screw it. We need to start upsetting people. If you don't want to be here, we don't want you here. Get out. It's mutual. Leave. If you want to be here, we're going to help you. Black, white, green, purple, yellow. If you want to be here, we're going to help you. We'll do what we can to help you assimilate. But you have to meet us halfway with that. It's not going to be all us doing it. You have to meet halfway and want to assimilate, and then we'll help you. It's that simple. These problems are not deep philosophical questions that take years to answer. They're very simple. But you have to have the will to do it. You have to have the gumption. You have to be able to take the hits, because doing what's right is never easy. And you're going to lose friends doing the right thing. But you know what? It's worth it in the end, because then you can look at your mirror, look at your family, look at your kids, and go, you know what? I did the right thing, and I'm proud of it. You got to stand up. You got to take the hits. If you're going to give a hit, you got to take the hit.
Sound like Rocky Balboa there. You know,
he's a good man.
Yeah.
I have noticed some commercials. If you're on a website somewhere, every 2 seconds you got to watch a damn commercial, and it's the same one over and over again. I've run into a couple commercials that have been all in Spanish, no English at all.
Yeah.
All Spanish. I find that offensive, and I'm not a big. I want to see less commercials, but I don't want to see commercials in Spanish.
I was in a store, and the overhead commercial in the store went in English and then went in Spanish. You know what? And I can't remember where, but I'll think of it after. And I felt the same way. I was like, "What? Come on."
Yeah. Well, if you go over to we gotta end soon. But you go over to another country. It doesn't matter where it is. They speak a different language than English. Say, do you think they air commercials in English? Well, maybe they do. But do you think their signs and their instructions are in English?
No.
Do you think
not in Austria?
We're the only ones that do it. So everyone that says that America is racist or against, no, we do accommodate. But if you want to become an American, so I don't mind if we have instructions in different languages for people to come over because they want to be an American. But if you don't want to be an American, then take that instructions and wipe your ass with it and get the hell out.
Maybe learn a little English before you get here.
Yeah.
You know what? When I go on vacation, what do? I learn how to say some basic phrases. Hello, goodbye, how to order a sandwich, how to ask where's the hospital, things that you may need. They could do that too.
Uno cervezas, por favor.
There you go. That's number one. That's number one.
How do you say coffee?
You should say tres cervezas, por favor.
I'm just starting with one. We're going to go to dos, cuatro, uno. We're going to go all over. Don't worry.
So, all right. Well, let's go around real quick. I guess I'll start. Elana, where do people find you? Based Mother?
Yeah, you can find me at The Based Mother on all the social channels all the time. And this was especially fun tonight, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was fun. Jack, good to you.
On Facebook, Jack Brangan at Jack Brangan. On X, JXBrand99. On Truth, at Jack B.
And they might be able to find you somewhere else soon on the network.
Maybe on the APN network coming up with Constance Stitzel. But
Cool.
we're in negotiations here with the management.
Are your people talking to his people? All right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a legal thing now. They're just
And then Seth, obviously, conservative quarterback guy.
We're going to bring Trump in for the negotiations.
oh me.
DW, he's tough.
Yeah, Sunday nights here, and then on Wednesday. And also one last thing, Monocacy Middle Valley or Monocacy Montessori School in Frederick County is screwing over their parents and screwing over their students. They're going to shut down the high school because apparently there's no more money left to keep the school open. I encourage you and I beg you to go to that website and tell them to stop lying and start working for the students and help the students stay in that school and don't close it down.
So, all right. And everyone that chimed in the chat, thank you very much. Donald, Devin, and everyone else that puts a message out there. I really appreciate it. So for me, everyone knows where to find me. It's going on social media. It goes across the ticker tape all the time. You'll see it in the promos. So I don't need to go through that. But I am running for Congress because I'm a glutton for punishment. And so go to votedamongaldo.com. And I'm going up against the juggernaut, as I say all the time. Click on that donate button. So they'll put the like here, I guess. I don't know.
I got it.
And remember, just because I say it, Damon doesn't agree with it. Don't put my words in his mouth. Don't hold me against him. It's not him, me.
No, I like how it's Seth. Hey, everyone has a different opinion. I got to get to everybody, and that's the thing. It's not about Democrat. It's not about Republican. Of course, I switched from Democrat to Republican years ago because the Democrats went batshit crazy. But there are Democrats out there that are normal people. So it's about normalcy. It's about common sense. So don't look at the party, look at the candidate. And you can see it on my website. And Jack, thank you for helping me put that together as well. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure.
It'll be updated even more, but I really need people. I hate asking for it, just like Seth hates when I promote his GoFundMe, but he needs it for his broken half a foot or whatever he always got there. So, but it's just you have to ask for it. I mean, my opponent, already has $2 million. I have 200. So we'll see what happens there. And we pay for this podcast because we do it for a good reason, because we want to get the message out to people. So we're just regular people trying to get the message out and make America better than what it is, our states and our country. But thank you all for watching. And I think our producer is going to play the song put together, and he put together a little video towards it as well. So we'll see how that goes. So thank you very much for coming on tonight, everyone. Everyone listened. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, I appreciate it. So signing off.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Yeah. This one's for New Jersey. For every working family that's had enough. Name's Damon Galdo. And I'm just getting started. Job site dust to the streets of the shore. Steel-toed boots, yeah, I know what I'm working for. Middle class hurting, every bill going up. While suits in D.C. say, man, just trust us. I'm a builder by trade, put my sweat in the ground. Now I'm building up hope for my hometown. Jersey's my home, blue-collar soul. I don't make excuses, I get it done, that's all I know. I felt the pressure, I've lived that grind, trying to give your kids a better life. I won't forget where I came from, man, cause I'm built by work. I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not a career man who forgot what hard work means. They talk real big, but nothing ever changes. While Jersey keeps drowning in the same old pain, I'll build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah. Donald Norcross been there year after year. Same old story while the struggle's still here. Claims he's for workers, but look around town. Rent sky high, grocery bills breaking us down. Where's the relief for the middle class grind? Cause all I see is folks falling behind. I ain't got decades in some DC chair. I got skin in the game, cause my family's here. Yeah, they had their every time they had their shot. And tell me, Jersey, what have we got? It's time for change, time for a stand, time for a work, and not another plan. Not another plan, not another plan. Yeah! I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. Not some suit who sold you fantasy. We waited long enough, it's time to demand a future built by honest hands. For Jersey strong, for this great land. I'm Damon, Galdo, built by working hands. Yeah, this ain't left, this ain't right. This is fight for what's right. For every mom working double shifts, every dad praying they don't miss. I'm running for my kids, running for yours, for a state that deserves so much more. Not talk, that's the plan. Let's build it back with a working man. For our children's dreams, for a better way. I'll fight for Jersey every day. No empty words, I'll take the stand. Cause I'm built by work. Yeah, I'm built by working hands, fighting for working families. While the old guard keeps playing the same old game. But we're done with waiting, done with excuses. It's time for a man who knows how to do this. I build a future strong for our kids in this land. I'm Damon, Galdo, built by working hands. New Jersey 1st District. If you're tired of the talk and ready for work, walk with me. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Galdo, Galdo. Make the crowd chant with no music.
Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country, America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.